Hello everyone. So in this materials, um, again, anything I add is just for comments for your own reference. You are only responsible for what's written in this material, and this voice over materials is just to help you understand the concepts. So starting with the objectives, I expect you to explain why dextromethorphan does not cause euphoria, unlike codeine, as you will see, although it is an opioid drug. Yet it is still, and expect you to understand why it still could be used. I'm sorry, it still could be abused, although it doesn't cause euphoria. It still could be abused at some level by increasing its dosage, as you will see in the material. So it shouldn't cause euphoria like the other opioid drugs or codeine. It does cause a little of euphoria. So by increasing the concentration of, or by increasing the amount of dextromethorphan that's taken, it could lead to the euphoria, and that's why it's been abused by some people. The second objective is to know the mechanism of action of the benzonatate, okay, compared to the other cough suppressants, and then think about the efficacy of the guaifenesin in treating cough. As you will see, some studies suggest that guaifenesin is just as good as not using it at all in reducing the cough. And finally, recognize drug interactions and adverse effects, basically adverse effects of drugs, mainly the opioid drugs such as dextromethorphan, codeine. Major adverse effect is actually the respiratory depression. And as far as drug-drug interactions, we're going to see if we can find some examples about drug interactions for these class of medications. Okay, so we have two classes. One is the cough suppressants, another is the expectorants. Okay, so here we're going to talk about just two classes of cough medications, the cough suppressants and the expectorants. To begin with, the physiology and the pathophysiology of the cough is complex, and we still do not have a full understanding of the mechanism of action of the cough medications, in particular the opioid antitussive drugs, which are the most common drugs for suppression of the cough. We still don't have the full understanding of it. But it's believed that they are involved in inhibiting the sensitivity of the cough receptors. And that is likely to happen both centrally and peripherally. So to start with the cough suppressants, the first one is the codeine, which is a full agonist at the mu opioid receptor. There are actually three types of opioid receptors that we will discuss in later sessions, but for now, it's a full agonist at this opioid receptor, which is the receptor responsible for the euphoria and the pain that people experience when taking codeine or morphine. The codeine is actually also responsible for analgesic, anti-diarrhea, anti-hypertensive, anxiolytic, antidepressant, sedative, hypnotic, and of course the antitussive effect. And like we said, we believe that it decreases the sensitivity of the cough receptors, whatever these cough receptors are. We are not sure if it's the opioid or some other sigma 1 or 2 types of receptors. There are many theories. And the most serious side effect for codeine or for the opioids in general is actually the respiratory depression, which is the major cause for the drug abuse of these medications. So from codeine, we would like to design another drug that would produce the antitussive effect, but at the same time does not cause the euphoria and the other addictive effects that we see. And therefore we introduce the dextromethorphan. So the dextromethorphan is actually very similar to the codeine, if you compare these two structures, except we have removed some parts here that were not necessary for the activity of the drug. They can still bind to the mu opioid receptors. What is more interesting is the fact that the dextromethorphan is an isomer. It has two forms. One is the dextro and one of the levo. And apparently the levo form, which is the mirror image for this, is the one that binds to the mu opioid receptors and causes all these euphoria and addiction, while the dextro still binds to the mu receptor, the mu opioid receptor, but in a much lower potency. And therefore this is an advantageous, because the dextro and the levo both have the same efficacy as antitussive, but the dextro has less effect as a euphoria drug, unlike the levo. So we could provide the dextromethorphan as an antitussive to receive the full effect, and at the same time has less euphoric effect and less addiction. Yet there are still some abuse for the dextro. But how can this happen if it binds to the mu receptor with low affinity? Apparently, by overdosing the dextromethorphan, you will have the chance of increasing the binding of this drug to the mu opioid receptor and attaining the euphoric effect. So this explains why about 10% of teenagers admit that they have been using the dextromethorphan for euphoria. Okay, so I spoke about the codeine, dextromethorphan as cough suppressants through the opioids, and both are opioid receptor agonists. The third example of a cough suppressant is the benzonatate, and by looking at the structure, it's completely different than these opioid drugs or the opioid receptor agonist drugs. It is not an opioid, obviously. It is not narcotic. It does reduce the cough by locally anesthetizing the stretch receptors located at the lower airways of the lung, and thus reduce the cough reflex at this source, at the lower lungs. So by taking a deep breath and with the presence of benzonatate, it anesthetizes these stretch receptors and thus prevent the cough. And the nice thing about it that there is no any addiction or abuse of this drug. The second class of drugs that are used for cough are actually the expectorants, and I want to say the expectorants are different than the mucolytics. I'm sure you have read this in the materials by Dr. Cohen. So expectorants actually increase the secretion. They increase the volume of the mucus, and help with the removing the things that causes the cough, while mucolytic would actually make the mucus more thin. So this is just to compare between the definition of an expectorant and mucolytic. We do not have any mucolytics actually in the market. We only have expectorants, which is guaifenesin, available as an over-the-counter. However, there has not been enough data to support the efficacy of these guaifenesin in treating the cough. So there is still a controversy whether guaifenesin should be used to help with the cough or not.